In this video, we will walk through the steps to write a basic TeleOp program. TeleOp modes are used during the driver-controlled and endgame portions of an FTC match. The main purpose of this type of program is to match button inputs on a controller or gamepad to motors, servos, and other outputs. To start, create a new Java class in Android Studio. Type the phrase extends OpMode after the name of your class. At the very top of the class, add a line that says @TeleOp. Now add these blocks of code. These are calls for the init loop functions and will be where we will write the code. The init functions runs once when the program is initialized, and the loop function repeats indefinitely when the program is started from the driver station phone. Declare your variables before the init method. Variables include motors, numbers, and other types of information. Any variable that will be used in the class needs to be defined using the following format. Variable type, variable name equals variable value. For now, we can set our own variables to null or 0 since we won't need them yet. Perform the appropriate hardware mapping for each of the drive motor variables within the init method. Make sure the green name in the quotes matches the name listed in your hardware configuration. If you're struggling with this step, check out the previous video about autonomous OpMode basics. Please note that we need to reverse the direction of this left side motors because they are facing the opposite direction. This can be done in the init function using this statement. Now move into the loop function. The command for running a motor is dcmotor.setPower parentheses. The value in the parentheses should be between -1 and 1, and will tell each motor how fast to spin. We can manipulate this value to change the motor speed under different circumstances. To connect controller inputs with motor outputs, we will use basic logic gates. The easiest way to do this is using an if statement, which will constantly check if certain parameters are true and will act accordingly. The parameters of an if statement should be listed in these parentheses. The parameters need to be Boolean values, meaning they can be described as either true or false. The phrase gamepad1.a will return a true or false value depending on whether the A button on the primary controller is pressed down. Using this, we can set up an if statement that runs all 4 motors while the A button is pressed. We will add an else section to our if statement which will stop all 4 motors if the button is unpressed. Using joysticks for motor control is a little more complicated but makes for more intuitive driving controls. The statement gamepad1.left_stick_y will return a numerical value between -1 and 1 representing the Y position of the joystick. Please note that the Y axis on your joystick is flipped, with +1 being straight down and -1 being straight up. We can edit our if parameters to check for a joystick input. Using an exclamation point equal, we can check if the left joystick has been pushed at all by making sure that its input value is not equal to 0. Once we have confirmed that the driver is using the left joystick to move, we can set the desired motor values to the value returned by the joystick. Therefore, if the user pushes a joystick further, the motor will spin faster. If the left joystick is not pushed at all, the motor should be set to 0. Using these basic ideas, we can write a basic TeleOp program to control the left motors with the left joystick and the right motors with the right joystick. Now it's time to download the code to the hub. Plug the hub into your computer and select the Run Code button. Wait for the green success message to appear on the bottom of the screen. Then you can unplug your computer from the robot. Now it's time to run the TeleOp program. Select the TeleOp dropdown from the top of your screen and select the program you just wrote. Plug in a USB controller and initialize it by pressing the Option button and the X button. Initialize the code, then run it. At this point, you should be able to drive. Thank you for watching and feel free to reach out with any questions.